Are you a nerd that likes to watch reaction videos? Well, good, because we're going to be listening to an awesome thrash band and reacting to it. Coming up. HELLCAST.
So you're a nerd if you like reaction videos, huh?
I think so. Because this is Reaper Metal Productions, and this is HELLCAST. So, of course, with HELLCAST being here, it would never be complete without J-Dog. Well, sometimes it's complete without J-Dog.
Sometimes, before.
Yeah, but here he is in the flesh to do this reaction video because we're going to be reacting to TOXIC HOLOCAUST. As we promised previously on an episode, and folks wrote in and said,
The album's still not out yet either,
The album's not out, but you layered it. You said you were going to do the album, and then the single.
Yeah,
so the single's out.
Yeah, and I looked at Relapse site 2 weeks ago, I believe, and the LP wasn't on pre-order at the time.
I got to ask a question, though, that probably everybody watching is definitely wondering. Don't you ever change your shirt?
Like I said, man, I mean, I get lazy about it. I just, they're in rotation. I got like a stockpile of 5, and just whatever's on top, I grab. Ghostly White, I mean, I really like the opening track. Was it Ms. fucking, what's it, Allerdale or whatever the fucker? The first song on Ghostly White.
Right.
Mrs. It's from a horror movie. Allardyce or whatever the fuck.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, I think that, especially the riffs on it, were really reminiscent to the Supernatural Addiction, which I love that record. You know, I'll give it the Exhumed rating. I liked it, but I didn't love it. Well, because it wasn't like my favorite. Like, you know, like Exhumed Slaughter Cult, I love it. Exhumed Gore Metal, I love it. Deceased Luck of the Corpse, I love it. Deceased Supernatural Addiction, I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Liked it, didn't love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
people just, you know, the opinion base. A lot of people were really happy with the
Ghostly
White.
Yeah.
Deceased.
I mean, I thought my biggest complaint on it was not that it was a bad song. I just thought it was a little excessive. Was the 13-minute song on there, which I believe is the second song on there.
Well,
I just thought it was a little bit too long.
As you brought up previously, that you know, Maiden comes up on every episode. It seems.
Yeah.
So
like
there's our opportunity to bring it up. It must be King Folly's love for Maiden, because you're speaking of liner notes and stuff.
Yes.
In Supernatural Addiction, I believe it is. He says something about Maiden and like, but that would have been X Factor era. And it was like, if you X Factor rules up the irons.
Supernatural Addiction came out after X Factor.
Right, but the X Factor was like
after?
probably fresh or something. They're if it's not.
Well, yeah, actually, X Factor's like what, 98? Supernatural Addiction is 2000 or 2001.
No, X Factor's way earlier than that, because it's the first album without Bruce, and the first album without Bruce.
But what I'm getting at is
last album was Fear of the Dark.
Supernatural Addiction is definitely either 2000 or 2001, and I know that because that's when I first met King and saw Deceased. Was in 2001. I was 16 years old. And it was for Supernatural they were touring with. They're touring with Exhumed and Cephalic Carnage. Fuck Cephalic Carnage. I never liked them. But Exhumed, you know, that was when Slaughter Cult was out. That was
really?
Yeah, that was great. Fucking great. It's called the Contamination Tour. Relapse. It was those 3 bands. And it was fucking awesome.
Well, as far as the date, though, X Factor was either the same year. It doesn't matter, because either way, X Factor was out.
Mm-hmm.
King Folly wrote it in
probably because at that time nobody liked it.
Exactly.
Just like with all these Carcass Swan Song posers, you know, they didn't like it then, but now you get people, it gets reissued on vinyl 2 years ago and everyone's buying it. It's
exactly.
Like, I was the only guy that ever liked Swan Song, and everybody was ripping on me. And well, they weren't ripping on me, but you know what I mean. They was like, that album sucks. That gets reissued. We stock 50 of them. They sell out like overnight. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, I've never met a single person other than me that likes this album.
Yeah. Then that's the point, though, is that it was,
I'm sure at that time I could totally see that everybody was probably like, X Factor sucks.
Yeah.
And he legitimately liked it.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's fucking great.
Yes, as he did when I last saw him anyway.
I could see that.
Whatever Maiden album was out then too. People were ragging on it.
Virtual 11 or
fuck no, dude. Virtual 11.
That was like
Book right of Souls. Right? Yeah, but last time I seen King Folly.
Oh,
I
thought you meant like
3 years ago.
I thought you meant like around that time.
No, and he was talking about like Book of Souls getting ragged on or something like, oh, it's just geezer metal, and it's like they've always been like. But anyway, this is an underground metal podcast, and why not honor the guy from the past that got mad when Joel Grind first did an interview on HELLCAST, and I don't know, HELLCAST was spouting being underground. Well, some troll on the internet was like, you know, this podcast says it's underground, and yet they got TOXIC HOLOCAUST on there.
TOXIC HOLOCAUST is underground.
So, okay, good, interesting conversation to have. Boom. So, TOXIC HOLOCAUST. The reason why we're first bringing up
underground, like I mean, Yeah, I would say they still are, because the general public, I mean, go to your local grocery store and ask every single fucking person in there. You'll be hard-pressed to find 2 to 3 people in there that's ever even heard of them.
Right.
Go ask every single person if they've heard of Metallica. Every single one of them have heard of them.
Which I was at Goldhorn Brewery, which is doing the Destructor, September 15th here, coming up, a few days, event for the beer and brewing the beer. And, you know, you would hear Maiden there, and it would be a place that prides itself being metal, and it does, or having metal leanings and fans that work there and run it. That I heard Toxic Holocaust, and it was like, you know, I've never heard that at a bar, and I thought that was cool, you know, that they would be playing stuff like that. Just a regular
bar that was playing
Toxic
Holocaust?
Well, the place that's doing the Destructor beer.
Well, because they probably get metal people that come in there.
No, they were just regular old grannies and stuff that nobody gave a fuck, and I was happy to see that, because
who put on Toxic Holocaust then?
The guy that works there.
Okay.
So the people that run there, so the bar doesn't come off as like this overly metal place. There's just metal things there, and then people that listen to metal, that, you know, the head brewer Joel, we've seen in a video on this channel, then whatever, he's a big Destructor fan, blah blah blah. That's why they have beers like that. They got one named Mob Rules and stuff. So it's kind of like music at every place, where like you go to just a regular restaurant and they're playing the YouTube music that's god awful, and it's just kind of secondary. Nobody's highlighting the music. They're kind of more in that vein, which is cool, because yes, it isn't like just metalheads walk into this place. Right, so you got just the average schmoes finally having to endure metal.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the, like, I like that more nonchalant
we always have to endure their bullshit.
And so, like, when it comes to, like, places that are like, oh, it's a metal bar, it's a metal this, like, when it's just kind of like, no, like a guy that works there, or they collectively have that more, you know, going on, I like it more. I think it's kind of cooler when it's more nonchalant like that than just a total on metal.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've tried to go in any restaurant or bar and they're playing, you know, Toxic Holocaust or Whiplash or something of that nature.
Yeah, yeah.
Not some fucking bullshit.
Right. So then to not be like Maiden or something that was, like, it's a place that, and they got metal fans, like,
right, what's like
Maiden and got it, cool.
Right.
No, it's like, oh, Toxic Holocaust. I mean, granted, to the internet troll, he wasn't going to be too excited, but that's kind of the point, though. I think it still has a lot of relevancy, but I don't know. It's so underground, really, though.
Well, I mean, of course, you can get that wise ass that's going to be like, that's taking, he's trying to like one up somebody in a sense. You know what I mean? That's where all a lot of this black metal nonsense started from, where it's just demo tapes and who has the shittiest recording, and that's what's underground. And basically, anyone that doesn't have the fucking dude's phone number is not underground. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, first of all, I don't like something based on if it's underground or not. Right. That you throw it out the window. That's just stupid. Do you like the music or don't you? Right. So I don't really give a shit. So if you're gonna try to prove a point like, oh, it's not underground because this, okay, I don't really care, man. I like it because I like the tunes. Yeah. So let's just throw that out there. But as far as just the sense of the word, I mean, he's not fucking rich. The average person's never heard of him. Based on that, you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I don't listen to country music whatsoever. Don't listen to it. Hate it. Think it's total junk. Right. I know who Garth Brooks is though. Right. It's not underground. It's total mainstream. Right. Could you say Toxic Holocaust is a more popular metal band? Yeah, but I'd still think it's underground based. You know what I mean? Well, because I think I would say a band that's pushing out of the underground that's not really underground is like Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse. But even them, to an extent, if you ask your fucking mom and your dad, for the most part, they don't know who the fuck that is. Right, right. The average person still doesn't know who that is. The average person knows who Iron Maiden is. The average person knows who Metallica is. Yeah. Hell, I mean, I'd go on rocket to saying more. It seems like more people, the average person, knows who Ghost is over like Cannibal Corpse and Toxic Holocaust. Yeah, I'm bumping into more of that lately. I'm talking about just out and about grocery store. Yeah, another band that comes up a lot on the show. So, I mean, I would definitely say that they're pushing out of the underground for sure. I mean, now people are like, of course they're not. I mean, I think a lot of people still haven't heard of them, but obviously they're very popular. I'll say that. Now, whether you consider that underground or not, I would say probably not, but whether you want to consider them underground or not, definitely, regardless, a very, very popular band at this point. Yeah, and came out of the underground. Correct. Yes. Definitely came from the underground, yes. Yeah, and had a bunch. Because at this point, too, if you're like this wise ass that's ripping on Toxic Holocaust, at that point, Midnight's not underground then, are they? Not? I mean, why? Because they're popular amongst the underground? Because that's really what it is. You go outside of the underground. I'm talking about outside of like Maryland Death Fest and all these metal fests around the world and just like the metal community, right? No one knows who the fuck Midnight is. You know what I mean? Yeah. I would agree. They just don't. And the people that do, it's because they have associated with someone that's in the metal community because it's either their brother, their cousin, their coworker. That's how they heard at midnight.
So
know what I
you
mean?
would say that the underground is slightly defined then by if you're not into the music too and you know it, that kind of takes it to mainstream?
I think the litmus test is this. If you go into your local grocery store, make sure it's full to the brim on a fucking Saturday at noon. And if you go out and ask and you can't find at least 3 people that have heard of them, it's probably still underground.
Okay.
And take that same test. So go to your local grocery store, fucking full to the brim, noon on Saturday. You'll be hard pressed to find 3 people.
I'm there.
You'll be hard pressed to find 3 people that have heard. I'm not talking about that idiot that's just agreeing either. Like, yeah, I know what he does. Okay, name me a song. He doesn't know.
You're old Slayer.
Yeah, exactly. That's heard of Toxic Holocaust. So legitimately has heard of them. Like, oh yeah, like Hell on Earth. Yeah, they don't have an album. Hell on Earth. Heard of them. Knows who they are. Heard of them.
Yeah.
Not this. I think are my buddy. Not the.
Oh God,
no,
the buddy.
The buddy.
The buddy guys are. He's got major problems.
Legitimately heard. For example, for example, I legitimately know who Tupac is. Don't listen to him. Don't know anything about him. Know who he is.
Not my buddy.
Yeah, not my buddy. Exactly. Not my buddy told me about. Not. I think I've heard of him. No, heard of him. Right. So that's what it is. You'd be hard pressed to find 3 people that legitimately heard of Toxic Holocaust, and at that same token, you'd be very hard pressed to find 3 people on the opposite spectrum that never heard of Metallica. Metallica's mainstream. See the difference? That's how I would say the litmus test is. If you want to just simplify it, because everybody else you're just getting carried away. Like this guy, and he's getting all upset. And again, he's just.
It was just an innocent remark that was years ago in the HELLCAST
history.
history.
That people were saying the Toxic Hollywood and all this other shit.
Oh, really?
Well, when they went to Relapse, they're calling them Toxic Hollywood, and it's just like. But to me, honestly, anybody that disband them as soon as they join a label,
that's the poser. Almost.
You're up. No, almost. That to me is 100% poser because you're in this. You're not in this because you like the music. You're in this for an image status.
How did it make the record all of a sudden shitty?
You haven't heard it. You probably haven't even heard it yet.
Yeah,
This is probably when they first signed to Relapse.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the first album on Relapse, An Overdose of Death, I have a hard time figuring out what my favorite album is. It's either Evil Never Dies, the first album, or it's that one. That's a great record, An Overdose of Death. But Toxic Holocaust, I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Nuke the Cross, bad song, Wild Dogs.
Yeah. Well, especially, first, because when a band is picked up like that, it's the albums that the true albums, if we're going to keep with this poser thing, that made them big in the first place.
Correct. They got them popular, yeah.
So then you're automatically going to dismiss the bigger effort because of the entity that's I mean, I get it if it like Joe all of a sudden changed style, which shortly after he did change style, but it wasn't the first Relapse album that he did.
The only album that's slightly different
Conjure Command was the first.
But it's still the same thing. It's just a little darker.
Nobody's saying that it isn't. I'm saying that. And Joel did admittedly say
it's got a
that
few
he
slower
did
songs
make the
on there.
effort to do that. I honestly, I don't know if that interview actually, I don't think it came to. I interviewed Joel once on the show. And then I tried to have him on again, and I don't know if it was in that interview or the failed interview that never got aired, where he said that he pretty much kind of tried to tune down the guitar and change it up a little bit because he was getting sick of being thrown in the Thrash revival.
How you bringing that up, and I don't think I still think it's the same thing, but yeah, that's slightly different. That's probably my least favorite album. But it's funny because the song "Bitch," which is probably one of their big hits, it's probably like one of my favorite songs by them. And obviously, that's one of their big hits now because you can tell anytime.
It's their hammered smash face, as that guy that I know would say.
Yeah, their hammer. Or I think either that song or 666.
Oh yeah,
is like their hammer smash face.
Yeah.
But definitely one of their big hits. And but that, if I had to pick a least favorite Toxic Holocaust album, it's probably that.
Okay.
Like I like for example, The Chemistry of Consciousness. I like that album more.
Yeah, I
think the cover
that's
sucks.
Like the Snake one, right?
Snake one, yeah. I think the cover sucks and the Tutti Frutti whole thing of it, but I think it's a great fucking album.
Well, which is kind of going on right here, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So you didn't like the cover already out the
don't
gate.
Like the cover.
You admitted that on the previous episode. What are you talking about? Well, it's linked up here, so check it out.
I definitely don't like the cover. It looks like fucking Back to the Future, so.
I mean,
no, it looks like Starship Troopers.
Soundtracks and like synth John Carpenter-esque sounding music is definitely abundantly popular within the metal crowd because I saw John Carpenter live in Detroit and it might as well have been a metal show.
Okay.
And then people were even talking amongst themselves like, man, it would have been sweet if Slasher Dave or Acid Witch opened this show, which I agree.
It's funny because John's like who?
Oh, he totally.
Yeah.
Which interesting enough, though, they're not John himself, but a very close component of John Carpenter's soundtrack work, Alan Howarth. Probably can have him on the show here soon, so that'd be cool for Halloween.
Let's get this party started. I want to hear this Toxic. I got ants in my pants.
I was just going to defend Toxic's cover, though, that it's like kind of an 80s movie. So that's kind of like
80s movies ain't 80s. You know, the reason why I don't like it either. But that's a whole different thing. I mean, like, it's kind of what you came from. Like, I think, like, I love the Evil Never Dies cover.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Just have the rigor mortis shirt and the skeleton guy looks like kind of like demo-ish.
Yeah,
and it's just like I wish he kind of would have kept that artwork vibe going with that. That's all. Because fuck 80s horror movie. I'm not talking about because that's not what that Toxic was.
Well, 80s movies, 80s synth. So anyway, though, the point to it though that it is kind of cool. That's still of the rigor mortis style in a way because it's something that Joel likes. Is that Joel has his solo band that he has done synth music. It's simply called Joel Grind. And he does synth music like John Carpenter.
Oh, you're not. I was thinking Yellow Goat.
No, that's something else. But yeah, he did like it's like synth music and stuff.
I
and
don't
it sounds like movie soundtracks.
The Joel Grind side projects I know about is War Ripper, which I love that 7-inch, and then the Joel Grind Yellow Goat, which I like that a lot too. Those are the only two I know. I don't know the synth project.
Well,
probably wouldn't be my thing anyways, though.
Well, you're gonna need your cans.
Need some cans. Listen to New Toxic. All right.
Yeah.
Hopefully, don't suck.
Yeah, Joel, you got a lot to live up here. Yeah. J-Dog's on the line.
And I would tell him, too, if I thought it sucked.
Well, let's see if it does.
Well, just hearing this now, the solo and shit, this is a little bit more, I'd say chemistry, just off this one song, just this, I'd say chemistry's a little more stripped down.
Oh, really?
That'd be, but I mean, this, 2 minutes into the album, you know what I mean?
The single is pretty well underway as far as the single's concerned.
Yeah, I got to get the color vinyl of this for sure.
Yeah, is it? Oh, that's not
It wasn't for sale on Relapse site, like I said 2 weeks ago. Because I was legitimately going to pre-order it.
Yeah, it's not even for sale here.
Yeah, weird. Strange
at the time of recording.
Because Relapse usually has their shit for pre-orders like way in advance, like 2 months easy, and it wasn't up. And it's like, shit, I think it comes out this month or next month, this album. Is it September or October it comes out? It's either September or it's one or the other. I thought it was September it comes out. And shit, what is this, the 5th? What's today's date?
October 4th.
So like a month away. What is today, the 5th?
Yeah, so at the time of this recording, it's not out yet anyway. But soon. I mean, it sounds like the Toxic Holocaust. I know I could see somebody maybe that only loved like the very, very early days maybe having a problem with this because it is
what would be the problem? I could just be like,
I don't know, maybe less. I don't know, just more of the.
No, like I said, the reason I don't understand.
5th or 6th album.
Oh shit!
Probably more than that.
2, 3. At least the 6th, yeah, because what? The 3rd album is on Relapse, An Overdose of Death, and then there's Conjuring Command. I think this is the 6th.
Well, that was the end of that. Let's look it up. I'm curious how many
6th full length.
How many Toxic albums are there?
Should be 6.
So Evil Never Dies. 1,
on Earth.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that's the 6th one.
See, J-Dog knows it's Toxic?
Yes, he does. Okay. So, I would say that it's maybe just got that later album.
Yeah, which I like, man.
Yeah, I'm not saying it sucks, but you know what I mean? Like when it just starts to happen, like the freshness of something, especially if you're kind of a band that repeats the mold, as Toxic isn't exactly not repeating the mold.
I prefer it though, man, because usually when bands throw you for a curveball, I usually am dis-fucking-pointed. There's been a few exceptions.
Why? And so the reason why the essence of why bands try to usually strive to not stick with a mold, and what usually gets lost. There's then that so I would say that this album is kind of in that tier. Like it's just the freshness is being lost of that mold. But no, he's not reinventing that mold at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of what I heard. I didn't think
see that. I could see somebody saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. I did say that.
I know, but I'm saying I can see why.
Actually, you're gonna need these cans.
Cans again? Sweaty cans?
Because I want to know what you have to say to
Pumpkinhead
this
cans?
latest and the greatest. Look at that beautiful.
Well, I've heard this.
really
I've heard this album, Destructor.
Well, I never really had you.
Been a while though. Been a while.
Oh yeah, been a while. All right. Well, how about,
I don't like that mold.
Well, this is probably my favorite Destructor song ever.
Well, this was your favorite album by him, right?
Yeah. Which had a guy that I don't know if I can point
Do
out.
you know what my favorite Destructor songs is?
No, that's kind of why I wanted to have a reaction video with you talking about Destructor, because I don't really think we've had many Destructor conversations.
I told you what it was.
I don't remember.
It's off the third album, Tear Down the Heavens.
Oh, that's right. Forever in Leather.
Yeah, first song.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a guy that was on the show before that's in a pretty popular band that we bring up that used to be in Destructor. What happened?
I don't know. I thought you shut it off.
Well, starting it again because the internet didn't seemingly like Destructor. Fuck. Cruise it along. But it's got such a great intro. No, this is Blackest Night. So fun fact about this song is that if you have that Reaper Metals reissue with the bonus tracks on it, Blackest Night was always just a demo song. And it was just like, all right, it was cut because Bill Peters didn't like it or something. And then it wasn't on Maximum Destruction. But I never knew that they actually went into the studio recording Maximum Destruction.
So they wrote this song back in the Maximum Destruction era?
It's on the 84 demo.
Oh, wow.
It's one of the first songs ever written.
Oh, wow.
Or
and when did this album initially come out? 90s?
2003.
2000. Holy shit.
This is the second album.
So it literally came out like 20 years after it was written.
So let me tell you the story undisturbed. So it goes, 1984 demo, and then Maximum Destruction's happening, and so there's no Blackest Night on there. But then, and I never knew that, okay, great, whatever, that just means that they didn't use that track. But then, when it came to the bonus material that is on the second disc of Maximum Destruction for the reissue, Blackest Night actually was a part of the album. They went to the studio and recorded it, and then they cut it so early on in the studio process that they didn't even finish mixing it.
So usually cut
songs get mixed.
But you put that bonus.
And I put it as the bonus, man. So we got to get pop screens on these goddamn things. So anyway, so then I find out that why they cut it and blah blah blah. So then Sonic Bullet comes out. Bass player got killed in 1988. That's kind of what made the band gone for so long. But they did have an album in store, which that lost recording did come out, and that's Back in Bondage. So then
that's the same recording too?
So Back in Bondage is the second album that never came out.
But it's not the same recording. Like it wasn't like recorded back then. It wasn't recorded back then and then just
Blackest Night was abandoned.
No, I'm talking about Back in Bondage. That wasn't recorded back in '88 or whatever, and just finally came out.
Kinda.
Okay.
Like it was demoed in '88.
Okay.
And that's on the Maximum Destruction bonus stuff. But then this is a hard story. Then the bass player dies, Dave Holocaust, and then they try to get it together and they don't. They did eventually go to the studio to start recording that album and then abandoned it through the years. So then they, I guess, finished it. Something happened because Sonic Bullet comes out, the original version. The track listing's different on this. 2 songs are missing because when this is the second release after Maximum Destruction, 15 years later, whatever 2003 would be to when Maximum Destruction came out, 18 years later. Back in Bondage, now when you're doing a reissue, comes out. 2 of the songs that are on Sonic Bullet original are the Triangle and G-Force. The songs that are on the second album that never got finished at that time, Back in Bondage. Well, now that you're reissuing, Back in Bondage is out and it has those same exact songs. So it's like, well, we're not going to include them on there again, as this guy that's in that popular band that wasn't Destructor said not to do.
You said one of the songs, The Triangle?
Yeah.
He must not own Blueprints for Madness by Deceased.
Well, Blueprints of Madness was a fucking, not even a cum stain as far as anything.
But when it fit back, my kid came out.
So anyway, because it goes back to the 80s. So anyway, so then we cut those songs because they're on the Back in Bondage album that now finally came out, which was intentionally supposed to be the second album.
Okay.
Even though Sonic Bullet is the second album, literally. By that point, it was a rehash of the same stuff. So then, Storm of Steel, going back to your favorite song, the third album, Forever in Leather, Well, when that album came out, they had a promo EP called Storm of Steel, which is also an old song that they finally did like a major studio recording of. So then you get that version of that, because then it was a demo before that, which the demo of it was Maximum Destruction. And then We Are Ready, which then is on the latest album in studio form, Decibel Casualties. But because the Storm of Steel EP was years before Decibel Casualties even came out, We Are Ready demo version is on that EP. And that's basically because then there's live tracks that fill that 5-song EP, which we have some live tracks that are originally on Sonic Bullet. So flipped out those 2 songs, G-Force and the Triangle, for Storm of Steel and We Are Ready, what you needed to complete the collection as far as getting that Storm of Steel EP. If you can follow all that, there's your Destructor video.
Yeah.
Rewind this for my explanation. It's far.
Yeah,
dude,
it's
hard.
clusterfuck.
Yeah. So we tried that. Like, that was my effort, at least as the fan, knowing this dude. I didn't even notice it was Jamie Boulder, who former bass player, that was saying all that. Like, well, the Triangle and G-Force already came back out, so don't put them on the reissue. And I was like, wait, hold on, dude. Like, what? You know, I thought like you went to the studio. Okay, God, blah, all right. So don't rehash it and like don't junk up the collection. So that's that. So anyway, Blackest Night.
Yeah, it sounded good.
Yeah, my favorite Destructor song.
Yeah, it sounded good.
And the guy that didn't like it, it was always kind of like, well, how did you not like that to cut the song? Because it seemed like the band liked it, but I'm not going to poo-poo anybody.
Oh yeah,
that had a previous past with them. So you won't be at the beer event, will you?
No, I'll be out of town.
Well, then obviously there will be no vending for you either. So if you're going to be making it to the event, hopefully you can come to beautiful Cleveland, Ohio, and attend that. The Destructor Hopping Evil IPA beer celebration, where then the band will just be kind of nonchalantly playing. Then there'll be other guys from like the old Cleveland scene just hanging out, like Siki. If you've been watching this channel, you've seen Siki or Hell's Headbangers Reissue from Black Death. He'll be there, I guess, kind of hanging out, and just more Cleveland people of that style, just hanging out and jamming. Then there'll be the heavy metal flea market going on at the same time. Destructor Sonic Bullet reissue LP, CD, you can get them there. There'll hopefully be pint glasses for the beer. We'll be having the beer. There's cool arcades. It's a cool bar. They got good food. Blah, 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 blah. Should be a good time, so you should definitely come out. But what was the point of this? Oh, I want to know what you have to say. Leave it in the comments. What do you think of the new Toxic Holocaust? What do you think of the conversation about Toxic Holocaust or about the underground? Like, is there really did J-Dog nail it? Or maybe you got an entirely different opinion
sure
on what
keeps 2 guys and then have a field day on that top,
Yeah.
Fucking full of shit. Toxic ain't underground and
well, that's what we are here on this channel. If you want to be a naysayer, that's great, but be a conversational naysayer. Keep it going. Don't just fuck you. And be that. Now you're just an internet troll when you do stuff like that. So whatever you want to talk about, definitely keep it going, and definitely grab these. They're available now. Links in the description, and everything else that we've talked about the show. Links in that description. I shouldn't have to tell you, but if I do have to tell you, you need to subscribe. You need to pay attention to HELLCAST. If this has been the first time you ever heard an episode, hellcast.net to access all the other ones, or just scroll through this channel for all those videos, and definitely do all that YouTube jargon then. Subscribe, and that would mean that we're going to give you a notification, and that means we will be able to talk to you next time.